Okay, hello again. In the last video we showed Ryan's trip to Greece to go boat shopping for the first time. This second time we went together, we went to Greece and we wanted to do some more boat shopping. We actually did. I think we had a look at 2 different boats. It was, anyway, a much more relaxed experience. We had a bit more time this time and we were together, so we kind of treated the whole thing a bit more like a holiday, so it was kind of fun.
Yeah. In fact, we weren't really interested in the 2 boats that we went to look at, but it was more so for the experience of getting on some boats and seeing as many as possible. In particular because Abril had not really been on any boats bigger than...
super new for me, and yeah, it was
certainly no liveaboard boats. So it was really important that she went and saw what she liked and what was important for her. So in that, it was a really good experience. And we checked out another Juno, Sun Odyssey 42 and a Moody 444, I believe. Anyway, but it was actually at the time that we were a few days out from leaving on this trip that we saw another boat that caught our eye in Menorca, but we decided to continue with the Greek trip anyway to check out these boats.
Yeah.
Once again, please forgive the portrait filming. I had no intention
apologizing. We're fine.
No intention of putting this on YouTube, but we'll make sure it's good from here on out. Enjoy.
Okay, enjoy.
Once in Lefkada, the first boat that we visited was a Sun Odyssey 42. Now, these are really nice boats, and there's a lot of feedback from the community on how well these boats sail, and their build condition is still the build condition of the earlier Junos. This one was 42, so it was still a little bit on the small side for us, and to be honest, a bit out of our price range. After the boat viewing, we took a trip to Agios Nikitas, where we stayed for, I think, about 4 days a couple of years ago. We really enjoyed the seaside town with its restaurants and pebbly beach. We just sat there for a couple of hours swimming and enjoying the last of the Greek summer. We took a drive into the more mountainous, hilly regions of Lefkada and headed for a village that we visited on our last trip, Karya. Unfortunately, most of Karya had already closed for the season, so we couldn't sit down and have a nice drink on the terrace like we had hoped. We did, however, take a nice walk through the town and say hi to the village cats that seem to be running the place. The next day we crossed over to Preveza to a boatyard to check out another Moody. This one was 44 foot and from the early 90s and seemed to be, for the most part, in really great condition. We actually really liked this boat. It had really great rigging, and being a 44 foot, it was a little bit bigger than the 422 that I had seen a few weeks earlier. We really loved the layout of this galley and aft head, the only negative being the bunk space maybe was very small, but once again, this boat was a bit out of our price range. Just as I had done by myself a few weeks earlier, we took the drive north to Igoumenitsa and took the ferry across to Corfu. This was more about having a holiday than boat shopping, and being the shoulder season, we got a really great deal on this apartment that looked out over the bay in Paleokastritsa. Paleokastritsa, which apparently means a little old castle place, is a really pretty village that consists of about 3 or 4 different bays. It even has a marina and has this beautiful mountainside with the village on top of it. For whatever reason, we decided to climb that mountain to get to the village of Lakones at the top, It actually wasn't too challenging. We walked through some olive plantations, a few little valleys and crevices, and any of the steep parts had stairs cut into it, so we managed to make it up in not too much time. Made it to the top. What time is it?
I don't know, 12 something.
I can see that. We found a place to have lunch and get a coffee, and just sat there admiring this view over Paleokastritsa while we caught our breath and before heading back down the mountain, which was generally a bit easier but not so kind on the knees. ¿Qué pasa, abuela? Rodillos. Tus rodillos son rotos. Oh, that's the technique. The next day we took a drive heading south along the coast and checking out a few bays along the way before eventually ending up in Cofu Town, where I was just a few weeks earlier checking out a boat. While in Corfu Town, we decided to get a bit of a history fix, and so visited the old Fortress of Corfu, which the current structure originally dates back to the 15th century, although the original foundations of a fortress have been found there since the 6th century AD. It was also used as a set in an old James Bond film, For Your Eyes Only, in which James Bond pushes a villain's Mercedes off the edge of a cliff. While we were there, the weather was very wet, but the view from the top is still fantastic, looking out over Corfu Town and the strait in between Corfu and the mainland. Another mini road trip, this time heading north from Paleokastritsa. We actually stopped in Lakones again, that village at top of the mountain that we had hiked to just a few days before, to check out the view again. Just a little bit further along the coast are the ruins of Angelokastro, which is a Byzantine castle, which sits atop some high cliffs, the highest seaside cliffside, in fact, in Corfu. Some more driving north along the coast brought us to the Canal which is one of the very famous tourist sites in Corfu. It's a couple of swimming holes on the seaside that also have a carved out cave which connects them. Here we could swim in the cave that connects the two swimming areas and also jump off the side of the cliffs. Jumping in was pretty straightforward, however, getting out of the water was a different story. Let me jump it. Graceful. Just a little bit further along the coast was Cape Drastis. We stopped there just briefly because, being October, it was already a little bit too cold for a swim. For our final night in Corfu, we took the walk up to the 13th century monastery and found a path that led down to the cliff top to catch the sunset. And my God, what a sunset. We had the place to ourselves, and it was one of those moments that was really special. We sat there for a good couple of hours, just enjoying the view and having a couple of glasses of wine, of course.
This is going to be in the top 5 sunsets for sure. Not a soul around but us. And the monks over there in the monastery. They keep to themselves.
We left very early the next morning on the ferry while it was still dark and had a quick stop in Amphilachia on the way back to Athens International Airport to get our flight back. So once again, we did not find our sailboat on this trip. It was, however, really beneficial to get on some boats together and to find out exactly what we liked and what we valued in a liveaboard. We did come to realize that we preferred the slightly older, really solid center cockpit boats that usually had a nice big aft cabin and a lot of teak in the interior. We were a little bit concerned that a lot of these boats were quite dark on the inside, but we were confident we could find the right boat for us. As we alluded to earlier, we did spot another boat on Yacht World just before going on this trip, and in the next video I'll tell you all about that boat. Please subscribe and follow along with our journey.